So my name is Patty Spencer. I'm an admissions counselor at College for Creative Studies. Welcome this evening. We are going to do a virtual information session for you all. What I have tonight is a presentation that talks about CCS. It's about what we do at the school, but it's also about careers in the visual arts. It's about the admissions process. It's about finding a college that's the right fit for you. So there's a lot of different things that hopefully you will gain from this. Like I said earlier, we are recording this. Go ahead and leave your cameras off. If you have questions, you can put them in the chat, or we are going to have a Q&A at the end. And then we will get started here in 2 seconds. Okay, so the school, if you don't know, the school's actually been around for over 120 years. We were started originally as a Society for Arts and Crafts. So there's a real kind of foundation in that type of work at the school. So it's kind of a nice, good, long history in the Detroit area. So that's kind of fun. There are 11 different BFA programs, one BA, which is a Bachelor of Art. BFA is Bachelor of Fine Art. That differs a little bit from a Bachelor of Art in that there is more studio art courses. So I'm going to talk about all of the majors just to give you an idea of what they are. We also offer 5 master's programs, MFA or MA programs. You can always look into those. We have a teacher certification program. And we do offer minors in a lot of different areas. So I am going to be talking about some of these. We even have several STEM designated programs. This is just kind of a quick overview. These are the names of the majors, just again, to give you an idea about what they are, what they look at, or what they look like. But then also, I think this is really interesting. These are the types of things that you're going to be studying, right? So, it's not just limited to painting or to sculpture. There's a lot of different things. It's a pretty broad basis, basically. So again, a lot of different options. We have a 10-to-1 student faculty ratio, which is great. Those are also, there's an option to be an undeclared student in the first year. If you don't know exactly what you want to do, you can come in undeclared. So again, we're going to go through a lot of these different things here. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to take a look at some of our programs. First up is communication design and strategy, kind of a big name for a program that involves a lot of different things: graphic design, website design, motion design, UI, UX, user experience, or interactive design. This is one of our STEM designated programs. Design, advertising, brand strategy. You're going to have a comprehensive skill set to thrive in any of these areas. Very technology driven, obviously. You definitely want to like working on the computer, but it gives you a lot of different directions as to where you can go with that for sure. One of the things I love about our updated presentation today is we have these great walkthroughs that you see happening on the left there that are showing the space for the different majors. So it kind of just gives you a quick overview. This is really where this major is where like design meets strategy. Students create brand identities, design apps, websites, motion graphics. They write copy, design posters, all of these kind of things. Students get real world experience through experiential learning opportunities. We have collaborations with industry leaders. We have these things at CCS called sponsored projects, where companies come to CCS students with a real world project that they get to work on. So, those are some great opportunities. This is the other thing that I love in our updated presentation. This list of career choices, again, gets you thinking about it, but also what you see on the right there, these are just a few of the companies that have hired our students out of this department, communication design and strategy, in the last few years. There is a 91% placement rate in this major. What is a placement rate? That is something you kind of want to understand what it is. For CCS, it is students working in their field within 1 year of graduation. So when you get those numbers from a college, make sure you understand the information behind it, how they are coming up with that information. It's not just they have jobs, right? This is working in their field. So I think that's really important to understand. A couple of great alumni that we want to highlight really quick. Ileana graduated in 2021. She is a production designer. She works with a lot of art departments for films, TV shows, music videos. On the left is a screenshot for an example of work that she did on the collab between Pink Panthers and Ice Spice on Boys a Liar Part 2, which was a video that they did, music video that they did. She did the set design for that. And then on the right is a video of Ileana hard at work, sketching concepts, building sets, styling props for Eminem's Face Off video. And then Paolo, he started his own company after he graduated called Semi-Formal, and they have earned international recognition. They've won several awards, including the Cannes Lion, which is a big deal. This is a recent one, branding that they did with Toledo Museum of Art. Give it a more dynamic look, feel, update graphics, things like that, redesign websites, all of those kinds of things. So that is what his company really kind of focuses on. So the next major I want to talk about is our entertainment arts major. And there are actually three things that fall under entertainment arts: animation, concept design, and game design. Animation is the first one up, and this is going to involve all forms of animation. So traditional animation, cell animation, claymation, stop motion, 2D computer animation, 3D computer animation, movie special effects, all of that. Concept design, this is going to be concept design for live action, film, and game. It's coming up with what the characters are going to look like, what their environments look like, their clothing, their weapons, their homes, their transportation. And then game design, this is going to be all things game. So it's the characters for the game, the environments for the game, even the level design of the game. Those are all different things that they're doing. All of these majors involve storytelling, industry grade technology. We have Rococo suits, editing suites, multiple green screen studios, complete VR and AR capability to create the visuals for this. This is a STEM designated program, a second STEM designated program. The college is actually considered a Toon Boom Center of Excellence. Several of our faculty are also authorized through Unreal Engine. So that is actually kind of a cool thing. Students get to work on projects with industry experts from like Nickelodeon, Epic Games, things like that. Again, quick walkthrough in the space, and you see some work by some of our students on the other side. And then again, here, you're going to see these kind of career choices. There's a 73% placement rate in this department. Alumni are animating the latest movies, creating visuals for the director's idea for a film, designing the best video games at both large and small studios all over the country and even internationally. So you should recognize a lot of these names on the right. Again, it gives you an idea of what students are doing after they graduate from this program. Two quick alumni, again, Jalen is a storyboard artist at Warner Brothers Animation. While he was a CCS student, he actually won our 48-hour design challenge twice. It has students, they have 48 hours to write, shoot, or animate and edit a short film. And then it's presented to the school, the faculty, the students, and they vote on it. So it was really exciting. He won twice. This is a storyboard example showing early planning stages before a final animation is submitted. So it's just a reminder that animation is a process. It takes time, iteration, and development to reach that final polished result. He's worked on shows like The Loud House, Casa Grandes, Teen Titans Go. If you've seen any of those are all projects that Jalen has worked on. And then Eric is the modeling team lead at Nissan's Virtual Garage. So he and his team create 3D vehicles that are used in commercials and in video games. So if you see a Nissan car in a video game, generally it's going to be Derek's work. He says his favorite project has been working on the vehicles in Forza Motorsport 5. It's a mouthful. And he is also actually an adjunct faculty here at CCS. So that's pretty exciting. The major I want to talk about next is fashion design. This is going to include both apparel and accessory paths. So if you want to do shoes, handbags, leather goods, or if you want to do clothing, it could be children, men, women, sportswear, right up through haute couture, whatever it is that you want to do. You're going to learn all of the different aspects, in that foundation year. You get to conceive and make original ideas, merchandise, fashion, apparel, all in a single program. So, there's all of these different things that you can do. There's a real sustainability bent to what the students are doing in these programs. You're going to learn about design techniques, fashion construction. You're going to learn about the business of fashion. You're going to learn about sustainability, about trend forecasting, all of these kinds of things. This program, when it was originally developed, it was developed in collaboration with globally recognized fashion brands. We have an amazing amount of space at CCS. Honestly, just as a side note, I will say I would put CCS's facilities in any major up against any school out there. They have amazing facilities in every department. For example, in fashion design, they have 6,000 square feet of space, industrial sewing machines, a warehouse of materials that students can work with, all of these kind of things. And then again, you've got your career choices here, all the different aspects of what you want to do. We have an 86% placement rate in this department. Students have worked on sponsored projects again with companies like Stuart Weitzman, Carhartt. We even had select collections that were featured in a showroom at Paris Fashion Week last year, and that is amazing for undergraduate students. That's pretty impressive. Couple quick alumni here. Nikki graduated in 2023, so not too long ago. She wasn't sure what she wanted to do after high school. She took a gap year. She ended up having a chance encounter with our department head, Aki, the chair of the fashion design program. Started talking. She ended up coming to CCS for accessories design, right? When she was showing her senior work at our annual fashion show, it was attended that year the head of design at Louis Vuitton. He was so impressed with her work that he offered her an internship, and she was hired shortly after that, which is a fun experience. And she already has, sorry, I went ahead too fast. Nikki already has over 10 bags already in production for Louis Vuitton. So very impressive for someone that only graduated a couple of years ago. So we had a kind of interesting thing happen. We were putting this presentation together last summer. Several of our alumni that we wanted to feature all changed jobs. So Ava's the first one in that category. The images that you're looking at, when she graduated, she did an internship for Coach, and they hired her after graduation as the assistant women's wear footwear designer. She was there for a number of years. In 2021, Paper Magazine actually recognized her talent in an article. This image that you're looking at, this is kind of a behind the scenes look at the fall 24 Coach runway show where Ava did all of the footwear. And then just this summer, she actually accepted a new position with Tory Burch, and she is the footwear design associate there. So moving on and up, very excited for her. Something we are all very excited about this year, we have a brand new program. It is called Fashion Business Management. Now, this is very different. All of our BFA programs are 4-year programs. This is a 3-year, 90-credit Bachelor of Arts. They've really reviewed this program and just, simmered it down to the absolute required stuff, and are able to get all of this in. Very immersive. It is building on the success of our fashion design program and all of those industry connections that we already have in all of these areas. So this is a business first approach. Students that would look at this program maybe want to look at merchandising or brand development, marketing, styling, trend forecasting is a big one. Fashion communications, this is a big one. There is no portfolio required for this program. So, your coursework is going to focus on business strategy, marketing, and not necessarily on design or fabrication. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, definitely reach out to us and, find out a little bit more about it. Again, these are some of the career paths that you might look at with this fashion business management major. Brand manager, buyer, marketing specialist, all of those kind of things. And again, some of our industry affiliations include, I mentioned Louis Vuitton and Coach, Hermes, Calvin Klein, Bottega Veneta, Kate Spade, Carhartt, we mentioned earlier, Tracy Reese. So there's a lot of really, really great professional associations that we are bringing to these students. So the next major I want to talk about is our film program. And this is really going to be all the different aspects of film. So students are going to come in and write, plan, direct their own video productions. You are going to learn about storytelling. You're going to learn about camera work. You are able to work as a producer, as a director. You're going to learn about, you know, After Effects. You're going to learn about sound, all of those kind of things, to be able to bring all of that together. So, lighting, visual storytelling, working in film, video, digital media, all of those kind of things. So usually at the end of the studies, students go on to be screenwriters, cinematographers, directors, editors, VFX artists, all of those kinds of things. Couple of things that make this program really stand out. We have, again, amazing facilities. We have green screen studios for CGI work, sound mixing suites. We have a massive studio they call the stage to shoot film on. We also have a fully stocked prop room and unlimited access to our audiovisual center, which students can check things out there like cameras, and different kind of equipment for free. So again, the facilities are amazing. It gives you a great opportunity, whether you want to make documentary films, you want to make, mainstream films, you want to make television commercials, whatever it is, you are going to be able to do those types of things through this program. Again, lots of different directions. We have an 82% placement rate in this department. And as a reminder, that is students working in their field. You see companies there on the right, like Sony Pictures, HBO, Hulu, Netflix, all of these kind of things. So again, think about what it is you want to do when you're done. I always ask students, what's your dream job? What do you want to do? And that'll give you some ideas. So quick alumni focus here. Michael Morrow was always into experimental animation and abstract art as a student. When he graduated, he started his own company called M99, and he works with a lot of different artists doing creative production, lighting, stage design. This example that you're seeing here is a set that he designed to match the deep house music from Diplo at Coachella. So he also has worked with other artists like A$AP Rocky, SZA, Dua Lipa, all of those kinds of things. And then Leah, she is also another one of our alums that changed jobs this summer. She was most recently the VFX editor for the SpongeBob movie, The Search for SquarePants, that just came out recently. She has had her work on many different platforms, including Netflix, Paramount Plus, Disney, Hulu, FX, and more. She just recently stepped into her new role as a lead VFX editor at Folks, which is a global VFX studio. They have done stunning visual effects you guys might have seen if you saw TV shows like Wednesday or Spider-Man No Way Home. That's the type of work that they do. Next up is our illustration program. And illustration is a more traditionally based major, a lot of drawing, a lot of painting, but with more of a commercial bent to it. So, it's one of the broadest majors, I think, as far as different directions you can go career-wise. We have alumni from this department who are making a living as visual artists, as painters. We have alumni on the other end of the spectrum that are making a living as graphic designers, doing lots of technology-based things. It's integrating the fundamentals of visual storytelling, figure drawing, color, composition, perspective with industry relevant coursework. Again, we have those sponsored projects in every single major. One of the other things that we always want to teach or tell students about too is within illustration, there are several different tracks that you can go. So one of them is visual development. Now, if you want to do concept design more for animation or cartooning, that would be illustration with the visual development track. The concept design major is more for concept design for live action film and game. Okay. There's other tracks like publishing, fashion, lifestyle, and licensing, comics and sequential art, and also gallery artists. So you have some opportunities there as well. Again, a 63% placement rate, lots of different options. We have alumni that have worked on the TV show Stranger Things. We have alumni that have from this department that have designed patterns for Converse shoes, right? And we have alumni that have artwork in permanent collections in major museums. So really a lot of opportunities, whether you want to do children's book illustration or cartooning or advertising, political illustration, editorial, storyboard artist, any of those kind of things. And again, you see that variety of companies there on the right that some of our alumni have gone to. Two quick alums here again. Ryan always wanted to do illustration. He is the head of story at Sony Pictures Animation. So he's the guy between like the film director and the story artist. So he will work on different things. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse was the first animated film in the franchise, and it was a winner of both the Golden Globe and Academy Award for Best Animated Feature. So he was head of story on that, which is kind of fun. And then Weijang is originally from South Korea. Her work is really strongly rooted in Korean culture, and she is a very successful freelance illustrator. She's done illustration for Sony Pictures, for companies like the New York Times, the Highlights magazine for children. This is one of her favorite projects. She was actually sought out by the United Nations to illustrate their Universal Declaration of Human Rights for their 75th anniversary. So she did custom illustrations for some of their different human rights, like free and equal, access to justice, rights to nationality, that kind of thing. They were combined into one large poster, translated into multiple languages, and then they were distributed by the United Nations for their 75th anniversary. So sorry about that. I jumped ahead by accident and unintentionally. Interdisciplinary art and design. This one's a little bit different. I think I mentioned it earlier, but you can come in undecided. If you don't know exactly what you want to do, come in as an undecided major. You will take multiple classes kind of to introduce you to different majors. Interdisciplinary is more for someone that knows what they want to do, but it doesn't fit neatly into one major or even a major and a minor. This is more for a student that wants to do in-depth exploration in multiple areas. So, you're able to customize your experience. You can, sit down at the beginning with your advisor and say, okay, I want to take classes in animation, and I want to take classes in product design, and I want to take classes in glass blowing, whatever it is. Okay. You customize that experience. So it's really can be tailored to your interests, to your skills, to what your goals are. There's a lot of really cool opportunities. So working in different areas, again, it doesn't fit neatly into one major. Faculty work with our students to ensure that their courses are going to align with what they want to do. So I will say the career choices here are a little bit all over the place because it is very self-directed. We have an impressive 100% placement rate in this department. The video that you're seeing here on the right, this is one of our alums. And she works at Six Flags as a prop fabricator and designer. So she's kind of doing that, which is kind of cool. So interior design, the biggest misconception here, I think, is people think it's decorating, and it's a lot more than that. Interior design is really about space and any type of space. So it can be, it wants to be a space that is functional, that's comfortable, that's safe, all of those kinds of things. We were actually ranked one of the best interior design programs in the US by intelligent.com. There's a lot of different kind of things that you can do here, whether you want to do residential design, a kitchen or a bathroom in a house, or a multi-million-dollar mansion, or it could be more commercial spaces like a bookstore or a shoe store. What you're seeing here is part of a video for one of our sponsored projects that was done with Ford Motor Company on coming up with a newer version, a futuristic version of the Ford Bronco. The student teams had 3 students on it, 2 from transportation design and 1 from interior design. And when the transportation design students created that vehicle, the interior design student then was taking that and put it into space. We've even had students invited to present their work at Milan Design Week in Italy for the second year in a row, which is really impressive, again, for an undergrad program. All of the environments that we work in and live in impact our health, our education, our productivity, even our overall quality of life. So interior designers are really thinking holistically about all of these things and how they're used. I mentioned sustainability with fashion. Sustainability is a big part of this program as well. It's not always creating something new. Maybe it's revamping a space or even designing something using augmented reality or virtual reality. That could be part of it as well. Again, amazing facilities. We have a color materials library that has over 30,000 samples for students, large format platters, 3D printers, all of those kinds of things. And again, different types of career choices here, depending on what you're interested in. There's a 90% placement rate in this department. You've got companies like Herman Miller and Hayworth that are Michigan companies. Gensler is one of the largest interior design firms in the country, based in Chicago, I believe, but don't quote me on that one. But you see a variety of other things here. You see Starbucks, you see IKEA, GM, things like that. Interior design majors have even gone on to work for automotive companies designing automotive interiors, right? So you've got all of these kind of opportunities. So two quick alumni here. Carly just graduated in 2025. She, as part of her interior design studio, she designed what you're looking at here. It's called the Wave Hub, and it's a workplace grounded in neurodivergent, inclusive, and healthy design principles. This project earned her two major honors. She was actually awarded the Angelo Dongia Foundation Scholarship. North America, they give out 15 in North America. So that is a pretty big deal. And then the IDA Emerging Student Award. The other fun story about Carly is she was offered a coveted internship with Disney in their Imagineering program. If you don't know what Imagineering is, they are the ones that build the rides, that design the parks, that design the cruise ships, that design the hotels, all of those kinds of things. So she did that internship. They loved her work. They ended up hiring her right after graduation. So she literally just graduated last spring, and she's working full time as a Disney Imagineer, which is pretty exciting. And then the other alumni we're going to talk about is Ash Hansen. She is actually an expert designer, global sportswear, footwear color design for Nike. She was always an athletic person. She was a figure skater. And then she actually started at Nike as an intern, as a footwear color designer. So you can see where that kind of ties in with her interior design background. She worked at Converse for a while and then was drawn back to Nike as their global footwear color designer for women's running, lifestyle classics in their Air Max line. She even got to use a little more of her interior design skills, where she was tapped to create Nike's exhibition space that was set up in Paris for the Paris Olympics, the Art of Victory. So that's kind of some of the images that you're seeing here as well. So the next major that I want to talk about is photography. And there's a lot of photo programs out there. I always like to point out a few things that are very unique to CCS's program. We are blending traditional and digital photography. We still have our black and white labs. A lot of colleges have gotten rid of those. When digital started to take over the industry, 20 some years ago, a lot of colleges said, "Oh, okay, we're done. Film is not anymore, so we're going to get rid of that." Well, it didn't really happen completely like that. And there's actually been a huge resurgence in interest in those traditional techniques. So, having our black and white film labs has been a real boon for our students. They have a lot of interest in, doing that kind of traditional techniques in addition to learning the digital side of it, right? So you're going to develop your own style. We have, again, amazing facilities available for our students here. And there's all kinds of different directions you can go with this. If you want to do fashion photography or fine art photography, photojournalism, product photography, alumni have gone on to the film side of it. So again, cameras, lighting equipment, large format cameras, even drones are all available to check out for free from our audiovisual center. That is a huge plus for our students. Other colleges, they might have to rent that stuff or go out and buy it. And again, you're going to save tons of money not having to go out and buy a lens or two for your camera. We have amazing green screen facilities to test out your CGI skills, fully equipped darkroom, tons of studio space, printing labs, film, flatbed scanners, all of those kind of things. There is about an 88% placement rate. We were named one of the best photography programs by Intelligent.com. So again, they're in all different fields here. And again, you see that nice range of types of companies here as well. Two quick alumni. I love Greg's story. He has photographed some of the most iconic moments in sports. He has photographed the Super Bowl, the Final Four. You can see his work in ESPN, on in Sports Illustrated, NBC Sports. He's shot the Olympics before. He's also the house photographer for the Detroit Lions. All of those kind of things. So, he credits his time at CCS for, getting him started for um, in those first couple of years, helping him understand, this process and what it was going to take to be successful. There's a great longer video on our website if you guys are interested in photography, and especially if you're interested in sports photography. I would definitely say take a look at Greg's video there because it's really fun. And then Evan used to make home movies as a kid. He was always into storytelling. While he was at CCS, he studied both motion and still photography. After he graduated, he took a chance, moved to LA. He ended up getting a job as a production designer or production assistant, excuse me, with Ellen DeGeneres and Sofia Vergara. And that actually led to a job working at HBO. He's a director of photography on the show Euphoria that they shoot. So kind of a fun, if you've seen that show, you've seen his work. So next up, I promise we're almost done. Next up is our product design major. Product design has a lot of names. You can call it industrial design, industrial engineering. It's like engineering without as much math, basically. This is another one of our STEM designated programs. Literally everything you use, your phone, your sneakers, the screen you're watching this on, whatever it is, those were all designed by a product designer, right? Your water bottle, your coffee maker, all of these things. It's not about just designing new as well. That's definitely part of it, creating something that meets a need, like for medical equipment or something like that. The image that you're seeing here, this is a watch that a student designed for someone with low visual acuity or they're blind, where they can feel right the time in it. So you have all of those kinds of things. It can include electronics, outdoor gear, footwear. If you're interested in designing like high-end athletic wear, like running shoes or basketball shoes, this is the major as opposed to, say, our fashion design major, because of the more high-tech side of it. So, you create the concept, your designs come to life in our rapid prototyping studio. We have 3D printers, 5-axis mills, laser cutters, all of those kinds of things. Again, I said it earlier, I would put CCS's facilities up against any out there. So really amazing opportunities. There's an 83% placement rate here, a little bit of crossover with our transportation design major. We have alumni designing track bicycles. We have an alum that works for Henry Ford Health Center and uses their production design skills to 3D print replicas of spines and other body parts to give surgeons something to practice on for what they have difficult surgery techniques, right? So again, lots of different lists in here, trend forecasting, virtual reality designer, UI, UX, you see that come up on a lot of these lists. Sneaker designer at Converse. I mean, all of these different things. So if you're thinking about engineering or something along those lines, I would always say take a really good look at product design. Two quick alumni here. Cole is a production designer, director of industrial design at Whipshaw. Whipshaw has created things like the Owala water bottle, the Bluetooth tile trackers, those kind of things. Before that, he was working at Motorola, creating smartphones and tablets. So some award-winning design there. And then Charisse started at CCS in the early 2000s. Kind of before the footwear industry really took off. When she was graduating, she received an internship her senior year with Nike. And she turned that into a full-time role. She designed footwear for Kobe Bryant, the Jordan brand, many more athletes. On the right here, you see all shoes that she has designed. The majority of them are for Nike. She left there in 2016, moved back to Miami to teach industrial design at her former high school. And then in 2020, she moved to Brooklyn to lead Adidas's SEED program, which is School for Experimental Education and Design, as the design director. So her passion for art, design, creativity, can help students learn. It's designed for, young women to, learn about different things in this area. So BIPOC women. So again, super great opportunities that she started at CCS. So kind of cool. Studio Art and Craft is up next, and I will admit this is probably the one major that perpetuates that whole starving artist idea. We want that to go away. If you take nothing else away from this presentation tonight, I hope that's the fact that that whole idea goes away, that there are things you can do as a visual artist. If this is where your heart is, if this is where your passion is, find a school that is going to learn how to make a living, teach you how to make a living at it, right? So Studio Art and Craft combines our history as a craft program in ceramics, in metalsmithing and jewelry design, in glass, in fibers and textiles. And then the fine art side of it is going to include things like painting, print media, sculpture, all of those kinds of things. So there's a lot of different ways you can approach it. It is a very multidisciplinary approach. If you come in and you say, I want to do painting, that doesn't necessarily mean that's the only thing that you're going to do. They are really encouraged in this program to try different things, to explore different materials, different mediums. Again, amazing facilities. We have a sculpture studio, a wood shop, a jewelry studio, fibers, all of those kinds of things. So you've got all of this different combination of things, including digital fabrication, digital media as well. So we are going to teach you the business side of it. How do you market your work? How do you work with a museum or a gallery? How do you create your own website, right? You can do all those things. You can even, if you really want to have your own business, maybe you would think about doing a minor in business. We even have a 3D printer in this department that prints clay. I think that's amazing. Again, different kind of career choices here. The Studio Art and Craft program has an 86% placement rate, okay? No starving artists here. And again, you see this great mix of companies on the right, everything from museums to colleges like Yale to companies like Toyota or Carhartt, Lego, all of those kind of things. So, there's a lot of really great opportunities. So again, if this is where your heart is, if this is really what you are interested in, please check out our program, look for a school that's going to help you learn how to be successful. So two quick alumni, Brianna is the Warm Glass Shop Manager at Sonoran School of Glass. This is actually, the image that you're seeing here is part of a series of work that she's doing that's being displayed around the world. She's exhibited nationally, internationally. She really loves the unpredictability of molten glass. That's really a cool one. And then Kaylin, she's a Detroit native. She really started to dig deep at CCS, and her concepts that drove her work helped her. She works with figurative painting, like what you see displayed behind her. She's also a gallery assistant, gallery director at M Contemporary Art, which is in the Ferndale area, just outside of Detroit. So, you can do those kind of things in combination with having your own practice. Last but not least is our transportation design program. CCS literally has one of the best transportation design programs in this country. If you are thinking about this as a major, we definitely need to be on your short list of schools. This is another one of our STEM designated programs. You are going to learn the highest standards of design, aesthetics, traditional skills, and industry grade technology. It can include all kinds of things. Automotive is kind of the first thing everybody thinks of when they think about transportation design, but it can literally be any form of transportation. It could be a boat, it could be a motorcycle, it could be an airplane, it could be a bus. Students do learn clay modeling techniques. They have access to CNC mills to create foam models, which can be painted in, we have a car-sized spray booth at the college. Freshmen even get to participate in creating what they call a cable car, that you race against your classmates to see which one is faster. Again, amazing opportunities here for sponsored projects with different car companies. That definitely happens throughout the year, all of those kind of things. So if you're thinking about, like I said, transportation design, definitely look at CCS. There is a 92% placement rate. We have a huge portion of designers at GM are CCS grads. The current head of Stellantis North America, Ralph Gilles, is a CCS alum at Ford, VW, BMW, see all of those listed here. Recent projects that they've done on the sponsored projects include that one I just said with the Ford Mustang, with John Deere, and also with the American Chemistry Council. So there's a lot of different kind of opportunities for you. Two quick alum here. Alex is a design director at Cirrus. Cirrus is the company that really sort of created the personal aircraft, basically. This particular design that Alex did has won numerous design awards. He has looked at different high-end cars when designing, doing his designs. So he learns about what the customer needs, but also what they're looking for when he does customization. This particular design was chosen as Robb Report's best of the best in aviation, which is kind of cool. And then the next alumni, Kara, started her career as an exterior automotive designer at GM. Did that for a few years and then transitioned to designing the interiors of the cars there. After a few years doing that, she joined an EV startup company and moved to LA. Then she worked for Autodesk for a while, which is automotive software company, design company. And then just recently, she's another one that changed jobs this summer. She accepted a position as the regional bespoke designer for Rolls-Royce. So pretty cool, pretty interesting, very kind of interesting job, basically. Rolls-Royces are completely customized, so she works with her clients to do that for them. So very cool opportunity. I have one last thing in this section that I want to mention. We do have a great teacher certification program. If you're interested in teaching art, it's a K through 12 certification. It works in addition to our other majors. You cannot come into CCS and just do art education. You have to choose one of the undergrad majors and do art education in addition to it. It will take a little bit longer. It usually takes 5 years instead of 4. But when you graduate, not only do you have your full BFA in whatever area you chose, illustration or photography, you also have your K through 12 teaching certification. So you've got tons of different opportunities. And we've had 100% placement for our art teachers for years. So that's a really amazing opportunity for them. So if you kind of jumping into other areas right now, we offer some great opportunities for you. If you take classes at CCS or you earn college credit somewhere else while you're in high school, we will look at that. We have an amazing pre-college summer experience program at CCS. It's 3 weeks in the summertime. You live on campus. All of those great kind of things. We offer amazing dual enrollment opportunities for high school students, all of those kind of things. So there's a variety of options. Some of them are also very cost effective. So a couple little facts about pre-college. You get to choose, what you want to focus on. So it could be fashion design, it might be product design, it might be transportation design or animation. So those, you also get to build your portfolio. You meet a lot of other students that are kind of like-minded, just like you. A lot of times we see students that make friends in pre-college that end up coming to CCS. So you have a built-in group of friends, which is kind of fun to have those kind of opportunities. And then, this is just one of those things. This is a really well-known program. It will set you apart. So, we have the critical thinking and design thinking skills for our students to be successful in any area. Okay. So I'm going to jump ahead here. I do briefly want to talk about the community. We are located in Detroit, obviously. Detroit's a big city. That's something you definitely need to think about, right? So you need to know that that's what you want. So you definitely want to think about that. Size is another thing to think about. We have just over 1,200 students from 32 states, 32 countries and territories this year. So we have a really beautiful mix of students, very welcoming environment. We do offer housing, but we don't require housing or require you to live on campus. We do have 2 campuses. We have our Taubman Center campus that houses most of our design-based majors. And then our Ford campus houses things like film and animation or film and entertainment arts and things like that. There's housing in both locations. We is a very safe campus. That's always something that parents are concerned about. So we really want to make sure that we highlight that as well. So again, Detroit being a big city, it gives you amazing opportunities. It's very much a Renaissance city. There are tons of different things that students get involved with in the city. Whether it's going to see art or attend an event or something like that, or even just, being active in the environment. One of the things that surprised me the most was that there were places students could go kayaking and, bike riding within the city of Detroit. So I think that's a really great opportunity. And then I'm going to jump to the admissions process. I do want to talk just a little bit. I know some of the people here have already applied, but I know some of you haven't. So I do want to have a quick understanding of the process. And again, if you do have questions, make sure you're putting those in the comments. And then I will do a quick Q&A here. I'm running late. Sorry. I'll do a quick Q&A here in just a minute. So very simple application process. We need your application. It is free to apply. You can do our application on our website, or you can do Common App. You do not need to do both. There's no essay. Again, very simple. The earliest that you can apply is August of your senior year. You can literally apply right up until classes start in the fall. So if you're a senior and it's January and you haven't applied yet, it's not too late. You can still do this. But if you're a junior or younger, you can start anytime in the fall. Transcripts from high school. The minimum GPA for admission is a 2.5. Higher is definitely better for scholarship. If you fall below that, if you're between a 2 and a 2.5, you're not necessarily out of luck. We can maybe do a conditional accept. Okay. And I do, if you, your high school transcripts, if you're a transfer student, you want to send us a transcript from the high school you graduated from, as well as all colleges that you've attended, even if you only took 1 or 2 classes. This is probably the thing that students stress the most about, the portfolio requirements. You do not need to. They are very simple. Now check, every college that requires a portfolio is going to be a little bit different in what they want to see. Ours is pretty simple. We want to see 5 to 12 pieces of your best work. Now, why I'm going to tell you a little bit more about it, I'm going to flip through these images. This is work from high school students. All applied to CCS. They all got accepted, different majors, different skill levels. So just so you get an idea for what we see. All right. So 5 to 12 pieces. The business major, the BA, does not require a portfolio. We also have several majors this year that we will waive the portfolio requirement if you have a 3.0 GPA or higher. Those are interior design, film, photography, and product design. Okay. You do not have to submit a portfolio if you have a 3.0 or higher in any of those majors. So again, the work in the portfolio does not have to specifically relate to the major. That is a tough one for people to swallow. If you're applying to, animation, you don't have to have made an animation. If you're applying to game, you don't have to have made a game. And even if you did, is that your best work? I would much rather see 5 to 12 pieces that are, less variety maybe, but better quality. You do not have to show us that that you've tried every medium under the sun. Okay. I hope you do, especially if you're not a senior. Try anything you ever get to chance to, especially if it's something new. You never know what you're going to fall in love with, right? But you don't have to show us all of that. Now, we are very, very happy to meet with you ahead of time at any point, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, to review your work and give you some feedback on it. Even if you're not 100% sure what you want to do, you just want to show us what you've been doing, that's okay. If you are a senior and getting into that application process, if you are anxious about the portfolio that you're going to submit, reach out to us ahead of time. Set up an appointment. You can do it right off of our website with any of the admissions counselors. We will review the work, give you some feedback on it. Okay. But we can reassure you if there's things you're not doing that you should be doing, we will let you know that. Okay. Now, again, these sections that I'm showing you, you do not have to have work in each of these. This is just a way for us to divide it up and show you some of the work. Okay. The one exception is our concept design major. You have very specific portfolio requirements for this one major, and it has a different application process. For this portfolio, you have to do concept design. You have to show us a story and show us the characters, the environment, Please review the details on our website as soon as possible so you understand there's a very specific format and way that you have to submit this. This major does not review on a rolling basis like the other ones. So other majors, if you apply in September, complete your application and get everything to us by November, the application, the transcripts, the portfolio, we're going to review it. It'll take you about 2 weeks to get you a decision. For concept design, it's done a little bit differently. The applications are held until February 1st, and they will be reviewed together as a group. Okay. When you apply to concept design, it will prompt you to select a secondary major. So go ahead and choose one that you might be interested in. Quick note about AI, because it is all over the place right now. You can use AI in your portfolio for process and research only. It cannot be your final image, and you can only use one piece, okay? One piece in your portfolio to represent that. Again, if you need help, reach out to us. We are very, very happy to do that. We don't want you to be intimidated. A couple quick notes about scholarship. We have a December 1st early action deadline. 98% of our students receive some kind of financial aid and scholarship. Okay. Our average scholarship package last year, you can see there, was over $34,000. You need to do the FAFSA form, the free federal application for financial aid. If you are a senior and you haven't done that, that should be your priority. If you are a junior or younger, usually you can start doing it in the fall of your senior year. But that FAFSA form is the start to anything that you might receive. December 1st is our early action deadline. Try to get your applications in by December 1st of your senior year if you can, for the maximum amount of scholarship money possible. February 1st, which is coming up here pretty soon, is our regular decision date. If you are in the application process now and not completed, please try to get everything into us by February 1st, again, for consideration for the most amount of scholarship opportunity. If you don't know what you want to do, we have a fun quiz that you can take on our website. I am going to actually stop my share. One last thing that I do want to mention, they talk about it here, is visiting campuses. I highly recommend it. We have an open house coming up in February, and we have several other ones throughout the year. You can look on our website under events and sign up there. You can reach out to the admissions counselors and ask us questions anytime, or our general admissions at ccsdetroit.edu email, any of things like that. So hopefully you guys have gotten some good answers on things today. I appreciate you guys hanging around with my long-winded presentation.